Hi, this is Cindy. Today I'm going to be kind of recreating a painting I did about 3 weeks ago. What I liked about it is it had some really cool designs, and unfortunately I kind of kept on tweaking it, and then the designs were lost. So I'm going to use those same techniques that I use to see what I can come up with before I add too many adjustments. And pretty much I'm going to be using the color wheel, and that will be the purples and the pinks all the way to the oranges and to fluorescent orange. I'm going to fill up 2 different cups, and what I'm going to start with, so I am going to be doing layers, and when you use the squeeze bottle, it kind of have to squeeze a little bit longer than just pouring from a cup to a cup. So I'd say probably count to 5 before you add the next color. So it'd be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That might be an ounce or so. I've not measured it. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, I'm trying to get a good sense of this because I would like the layers of each color to be kind of a little more, just to show and not to be hidden in small little layers. So I am using a ring light, and I am finding that it's difficult to get to put the ring light at an angle where it doesn't show up on my painting. Since my painting is wet, it does pick up the reflections from that. So I'm kind of just still trying it out, and we'll kind of see if I'm going to need to try some other option. There are options where I can get a stand to hold the phone, and maybe I can just lean it over this way and from the side of my table and get a really close shot. But what I had heard from a number of people, artists online, is just start. And so I got started with just a little bit of equipment and my own cell phone, which I've been using. So in California, it definitely is summer. I can definitely feel that, and I've got the AC going all the time. Excuse me. So it's real interesting. A friend of mine came over and looked at my paintings. We were just going to hang out. She came over to pick me up, and we just sat here for about an hour talking about the paintings on the walls. Right now I have about 40 paintings hanging up, and the reason is to get them off the floor, keep them safe so I don't stumble over them, and so in the meantime they're decorating my little apartment here. And so that's been fun. I think I'm less likely to feel motivated to paint when I don't really have any room to put more paintings. And so I'm going to have to try to figure out how I'm going to work with that, because maybe I need to give a few more away to the thrift store. I have thought about possibly giving them away to a senior center where you've got shut-ins and people who they're just in their bedroom the whole time, maybe to give them some nice paintings. There would not be a lot of profit in that, and I may not even be able to write it off, but it's something that came to mind, as well as there is a group, a nonprofit that reaches out to women who basically they and their children have had to leave a real bad living situation. So they create it's called, I think it's called El Nino. It's in San Diego County. And so they have apartments, and people come in with their own time, their own resources, and they clean up the apartment. They add furniture and anything that person and their family might need to, to get by. And they're there for maybe a year while they, get more stable, maybe possibly get a job, just get all those different resources they need. And when they leave, they take everything with them, whatever they want to take with them. So I thought also, well, maybe I can donate some of my paintings to them, because it'd be nice to go into a new living environment where you're basically ripped out of your home. Everything's very unsettled, and to have some nice paintings on the wall. So that's one thought I've also had. As far as selling at fairs, I'm not at that point. I feel like I'm an introvert, so being in a sales position has never been really a good thing for me, unless I'm giving people a great deal. And so that's kind of my thought on that right now. I probably won't do fairs. I have talked to a craft store, and they said, hey, you can set up a table in front of our craft store where we sell supplies, and you can sell your paintings here. But at this point, I don't have a business license or a sales license. So those are other steps I need to think about, and how I'm going to handle that. I do want to keep track of everything, as just so legally I don't have any problems. All right, so what I'm going to do, what I did was I kind of, rather than just, a ring, like a traveling ring pour, I am still trying to figure out the names on these. There's one that you just kind of add a little jump, a little hop and a jump to when you lay out the paint. And I really like the way that came out last time. So I'm going to try to see if I can recreate that. And it was like kind of like this, I think. It's just, how did I do that? I don't remember. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to try to make this rather than just a straight line. And rather than just do all the pink and purple at once, I'm going to kind of do this as well. Okay, that's not mixed up really well. Huh, that's interesting. Huh. Okay, I'm going to go back over that because that, oops. All right, even this is not totally coming out the way I had thought, which is okay. I'll go back to the pink and purple. Maybe it was more like this, kind of, rather than forward, going backward. And I don't know if you can tell that there's a slight difference there. Rather than having the cup pouring this way, I'm going to pour it this way and see if that provides, okay, if it gives me a few more options. All right. Oh, that's interesting. It all looks just plain old orange. Huh. Okay, back to the pink and purple. All right. And then it's like, okay, how did I do that? So as you'll see with fluid art, at least when you're newer, it may not come out the same as you remember. It might be harder to recreate. All right, yeah, I've done about 80 paintings so far, and yeah, oh, I love that. I love that pink and purple. That is so pretty. Now I know that you can, oops, I did that wrong. I know that you can create just about any color with the primaries, but I wonder about the fluorescents, because I thought that the fluorescents, there's just something unique about those. Of course, I could be totally mistaken. I definitely need to go back and study that. Okay, so it's real interesting. I think most of the fluorescent orange came out here. I'm going to add a little more fluorescent orange to my cup, and a little of the vermilion, just to kind of to mix that up a bit. And I'm going to go ahead back over this because I do want a combination of colors, not just orange. And I'm going to do the same here. This one is really spread out. So I had found that when I started my channel, it was about a month and a half ago, and I went ahead and did some promotions, and then I looked online and said, you shouldn't go with promotions because then it messes up the algorithm. And so I stopped for a while, and then you know, it's difficult to just stand still and wait for everything to happen organically. So I did some more promotions. I probably spent way too much money, but again, I kind of lack patience, you know, on waiting for that to happen. And one person on YouTube, because there's a lot of people out there who want to give advice, and they've got lots of followers, so I trust that they have experience that leads them to give the advice. And they said, one guy said, if you're not getting views, stop uploading. So I stopped uploading, and my views dropped dramatically. And I think 1 week I had 20 views a week. I was like, oh my gosh. And so when you do a promotion, so like if you put, you know, $35 towards one video, promoting it, you know, you might get 1,200 views. If you, and then that kind of trails off. It trailed off for me where I would get maybe, with a promotion, maybe 100 views. And so it's kind of interesting how it all works. I'm hoping that I can be a little more patient to wait for this to grow more organically. Okay, I'm going to put a little bit more here because this is okay, it looks like ketchup. All right. Okay, I think that what I'm going to do at this point, rather than messing with it at this point, I'm just going to stretch out the paint. There's quite a bit of paint on here. I'll move this over. That's my hope that my camera does not drop. Okay, I think I'm okay. Yeah, I had a little bit of trouble with getting the ring light to, well, the ring light has a holder for the camera, and I was having a little trouble ensuring that the entire canvas was covered, that my camera is picking up the entire canvas. Okay, now I want to see that I can get all the corners covered. That one's not covering too well. Okay, that side, all the sides are good except for the upper right. And that's very stubborn. It's not covering over. Got a lot of paint on my hand. going to just dab that. And okay, so that's interesting. I am remembering right now that I was going to label all my bottles to say whether it was semi-transparent, transparent, or opaque. And I did not do that, so I have a feeling that these colors here are likely more transparent. And I forgot one item. Okay, I've got a couple bubbles. I spend a little too much time going over this with the torch, and there is the option. I've seen one or two of the artists pounding the canvas so that more bubbles are released, and I think that that helps. Okay, I do prefer the orange and the purple, or the pink and the purple to the orange, and I may just need to lay out a little more paint. Also, the other thing is to look at the painting from different angles to see what do I think about it. And it's different. I don't know that I'm real crazy about it because I feel like the red is kind of looks more like ketchup. The orange reminds me like of carrots. And I do like the pink and purple. So what would go well with the orange to break that up? Because it is pretty intense right now. And I don't know. I don't know that that's really what I was hoping for. It definitely did not create the design I was hoping for. So, okay, the opposite of orange looks like it's green, orange, red, orange, orange, or blue. That would be blue. Do I want to incorporate blue? What if I did a little bit of silver? Actually, a little bit of gold might be good, because the gold might make this pop a little bit more. And I can kind of just go along with the current designs. I can go this way. So this is definitely ad hocing. Oops. That was probably a little too much. All right. Well, I think it breaks it up a little bit more, which I think is a good thing, because the orange was real intense. I'm going to stretch that out again. So definitely more paint on here. Yeah, there is the point, and I have been here many times where I just go, it's not working. I'm starting all over. And I think in this case, that might be the case. And it is good to stretch it out a little bit, because it creates it stretches out the gold, so it's not like just a line of gold is put on top, but it stretches it to make it look more, not so planned out. Got a lot more paint here. Yikes. All right, I'm gonna look at the different angles. It's a little different. I don't know that I really care for it a whole lot. I think the last time I was in this position is I used my hair pick to create some designs inside. I could try to blow it out, see what that would look like. I am tempted, I don't have a lot of pink purple in here, but I am tempted to add a little bit more. And I think I'm going to do that. I'll just add a little more of the pink and purple. The purple I'm using, I've got that Dioxazine Purple with silver. You can tell that's a little low. The deep violet. The magenta. And the turquoise, I'm sorry, the fluorescent pink. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and just add a little bit more. Kind of going over the orange red. And I wonder, it's not a bad idea to put a little bit of white, because these do, the transparent colors do, let's see, they do, sorry, the transparent colors do dry much darker. Now I could also, oops, picked up some of that paint. I could also do some swipes, and that might be interesting. I haven't done swipes in a while. I don't have a lot of experience doing it, but I do like the swipes. And I'm going to put a lot of that, some of that here. I have not used this in a while, and this is the Australian Floetrol. I'm supposed to kind of drip it off a little bit so it's not totally intense. And I'm going to go through here. All right, so with the swiping, this is new for me as well, and you just want to barely touch the surface of the paint with this. That takes time to figure out how much pressure to apply, and I've got the palette knife, a little bit of paint. I'm going to try to even that out just by shaking it at this side over here. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and try that again. Okay. Okay, I'm going to do another one on this side. And I was going to do a mix of black and white, but I think this will be fine. And after I do this, I'm going to stretch out the canvas, which should help the cells look a little bit bigger. So this is barely touching the surface of the paint. Got some nice cells on the side here. Okay, Now what I would like to try using Floetrol and one of the other Amsterdam colors is to try other colors rather than just black and white. All right, so I'm going to take some of this off the side, off the top. And my hope is so that the lacing, that there's clear lacing, that because at the top it's a little heavy as far as the Floetrol or the cell activator. Okay, then I'm going to bring it down here. I don't know if you guys have this in your area. It's on YouTube. In Big Bear here in California, Big Bear is where we have mountains, and when there's snow, there's ski lifts and snow trails and everything, ski trails. There are some bald eagles that have a nest. There's plenty of bald eagles and nests, but one of them has a camera on it 24/7. And it was really cool. I was watching it a little bit last year. This year I got in as well to watch some of those videos, and it's just really therapeutic to watch. If you just want to kind of cut away from everything and look at nature for a while, it's so amazing. These eagle parents are the best. And they had lost their first two eggs. I do not recall what happened, but they lost their first 2 eggs, and then they actually laid 2 more, and they grew so fast, almost as fast as the first one would have, the first set would have. They've already fledged. They're flying around. They're coming home for food, and when they don't come home for food, their parents will find them and feed them. I just love that. Okay, so that's interesting. It's different. I'm going to kind of try to bring this down a little bit because there's more lacing, I think, on this side than this side. I could do a swipe this way because that white and orange is pretty intense. So I think I'll do that. All right, so I've got the Australian Floetrol. I have not used the Australian Floetrol very much, probably like 3 times. And then I had gotten access to the Olga Sobey recipe. I took her training, her online course. It's really great, and I would recommend it to everybody. So I tried out that new recipe. So I put the Floetrol recipe on hold for a while. Okay, I'm gonna go through here. Okay. So it has been a while since I've used the Australian Floetrol cell activator. And I just want to, give kudos to all the artists who just so generously share their recipes, their techniques. It's incredible. I learned everything I know online and through the Olga Sobey training course. It's yeah, just kudos to you guys who do that. The purpose of me being here is just to share my journey. I see myself as kind of like an intermediate novice. I've done, as I shared earlier, about 80 paintings or more, and I've tried different techniques, 2 or 3 different recipes. Right now I'm using 2, which I've heard is better just to use 1, but I'm very attached to some of the Floetrol. Like this is Floetrol right here. I do enjoy using the Sobey recipe. So I've not really decided yet if I'm gonna just keep on using 2 types of paints, paint recipes or not. But it is really nice that we can learn online, and I definitely have picked up a lot through and just by watching dozens of videos. Now I need to look at this and see how does it look from every angle at this point, and I feel like this right here is a little intense compared to the rest, so I'm going to do another swipe. Yeah, what I've found is sometimes I'll do a painting and go, oh, that looks good. And then a little later I go, oh gosh, you know, I missed this or I missed that. Okay, I'm gonna go here. So it's good to take a look at your canvas as you're going and look at different angles and go, okay, how does that look? Does it look consistent? Because there should be some level of consistency with the painting, especially when it comes to a painting like this, which is abstract. Okay, I think I'm just about done. I'm happy with the sides. The sides are all covered really well. I'll need to take some of that paint off of the frame. I do see something that might be a little bit of dried paint that I need to take off. And with the Floetrol mix, it is a little more forgiving than the thinner recipes, which I really like. But there's the final product. I'm pretty happy with it. Once I did some swiping with the white activator, I'm all, you know, I like that. So I'm going to bring you in a little closer. This is a small canvas. It's only like a 12 by 12. I wanted to try out the small canvases. It's just a good way to learn and to practice. Now I did walk around the canvas to see, you know, is this painting consistent in the pattern? And I think that I was able to get some consistency by adding another 1 or 2 swipes. And as you see, I just love that. The swipe effects are very cool. And the lacing does some unique things with the paint. All right, I hope you can see that okay. My ring light is picking up a lot of reflection. But, okay, I'm going to wrap it up there. Thank you for joining me. Hey, I hope you have a great week.